and go.
Hi, friends.
All right, welcome to the we can edit this at the end. Okay, go.
Hi, friends. Mario Cavolo here, and I don't want to say welcome to, because it's not a very nice thing to welcome you to. But yeah, all right. Welcome to the war on China. That's what we have. That's what we're in. And myself, Mario Cavolo, and my co-host of this show and executive producer, Fernando Munoz, we have a very, very specific format for this show that has been created. And it's not to have casual, friendly narrative chit-chat. The fact of the matter is that between the two of us, we have been in China now a total of 40 years, 41 years to be exact. We are the experts, and we are angry. Listen to what we have to say, because we are not on this show to share with you rhetorical, assertive narratives. That is not what we're doing. What we're here to do is to share with you the information that we know is clearly, evidently, observably, demonstrably certain to be true. That, by nature, is exactly the opposite of propaganda. And episode number 3 is all about propaganda. Specifically, you're supposed to be hearing from mainstream news media the news, the facts, the things that are important to your life. Is that what you hear? No. We've got a couple of examples of what you hear from BBC and what you hear from Fox News. That is pure propaganda, is wild and dangerous, is literally dangerous to the well-being of your life, dangerous to the well-being of society. And these are the kind of topics that we are here to talk to you about. And we're here to talk to you about these things with a little bit of anger, if not a lot of anger. Being boisterous, being passionate, because we're having fun? No, because we care. We, along with how many hundreds of thousands of other foreigners who know and understand China because we live here in China, we're telling you point blank, you're being lied to. Now, when I tell you that, you think I'm going to go in public and make a fool of myself if that's not true, and then my reputation is ruined? You think Fernando's going to do that? We're not going to do that. When we tell you you're being lied to, when we tell you something specifically, accurately, demonstrable about China, about the China story, about China's domestic situation or China's international situation, you can take it to the bank as demonstrable, evident, certainly true fact. Period. We're not here to talk rhetoric and narrative. Now, we have to refute what has been gone on this last 48 hours. Very dangerous information that's being shared by BBC and Fox News. I don't like it. I don't want to have to do this, but it needs to be done, because what they're doing is spouting information that's dangerous. Now, before that, we're going to go back and we're going to cover more information about the situation with respect to Xinjiang, the Uyghur minorities in Xinjiang. Many of you have heard and know that story, that ridiculous, preposterous propaganda out of the Western media that there's a genocide in Xinjiang, that there's forced labor in Xinjiang. Nobody between me and Fernando is better to talk about this than Fernando. Because while I've made a video about Xinjiang for CGTN last year, Fernando's made several, we know what we're talking about. But the most important point, now I want to take it back to Fernando, is because he was just there. And amongst the characteristics of the fact that he was there is the fact that if you want to go to Xinjiang, you can go. You're free to go. Other people have been there too. Fernando was there, and he has a lot to say about it. He was there on the ground recently. This is the real demonstrable reality. So there's my intro for the day, for this episode number 3. It's great to have all of you with us. Pay attention. And right now, to you, Fernando, about the situation of what's happening in Xinjiang and your personal experience while you were there. Go, my friend.
Thank you, Mario. And yes, we need to definitely talk about what the BBC said about, the people that are making videos in China about Xinjiang. So today we're going to talk about what I saw. But first, I need to say 2 things. Number 1, my trip to Xinjiang was not coordinated with any entity at all. It was coordinated between me, my wife, and Noel Lee, who came with me to take photos. We were 3 people. We bought tickets, we booked hotels, and that we took some COVID tests, and that was about it. The second thing that I need to say is that there was no money paid for this trip by anyone. This was financed by ourselves. We paid for it by ourselves. Why is that important? Why are these 2 things very important? This shows you that this trip, and what I want to show you right now, let me bring this in 1 second. What I'm going to show you right now is not staged. What you're seeing here is my footage. You asked me, what did I see, Mario? I saw peace. I saw harmony. I saw safety, and I saw security. That's what I saw. That's what you're seeing in this video. Look, when I talk about peace, harmony, safety, and security, I'm talking about a taxi driver that is telling me that he wishes he had learned Chinese Mandarin back in school, and how happy he is that his kids, his Uyghur kids, are actually learning Mandarin in school because it presents new opportunities for his kids. And he told us in a taxi ride that he wishes his Mandarin were better because it will be better for him as he will give rides to more tourists. I saw kids, as you can see here in this video, playing around, having fun, being kids on a weekend, going to a park. There's a Uyghur kid in that particular clip right there. I'm going to turn around and you're going to see it. It's a Uyghur kid taking a picture, taking a photo on a horse. This is not for tourists. This is also for local people. This is what they do in their free time. These are the 12 million Uyghur that are not prosecuted and that are not in prison. You also saw here a lot of old people. What are they doing here right outside the mosque? They're waiting for prayer time so they can go and pray inside the mosque that's on the right. That's what you're seeing right here. That's what I can show you. I saw peace, I saw harmony, I saw safety, and I saw security. Now, let me tell you also what I did not see. I did not see people being prosecuted. I did not see Muslim people being persecuted. I did not see Uyghur people being persecuted. I saw thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, millions probably, in different cities in Xinjiang, enjoying their lives, going about their lives without any issue. I saw people not being denied travel. Everybody's free to travel as long as they are legally doing so. I was on a train, I was on a subway, I was on buses, I was on planes. Everybody's free to travel over there. And one more thing that I did not see cultural genocide. Now, on the topic of cultural genocide, we have to remember something. These things that you're seeing here are not staged. I did not tell anybody that I was going. So these things that you're seeing here is normal life in Xinjiang. I saw harmony, I saw peace, I saw safety and security. Now, this is going to lead me on to topic number 2, which is the BBC claims of misinformation. Now, tell me, how is this clip that I'm showing you right here? How is this that you're looking at right here misinformation? Did BBC show any of this? People enjoying themselves, children being safe, people going about their lives? How is that disinformation? And here's the thing. If I can show you this, if I can show you this beautiful kid playing and enjoying herself, when the YouTube community takes a trip that is organized by CRI or whoever it is, and they show you the same things that I'm showing you, the same night market, the same bazaar, the same. How could you say that that is misinformation? How can BBC claim that that is disinformation? How is that misinformation? Now, let me show you one clip that is very important. Let me stop this right here, 1 second. And I want to show you something, Mario, before we go on. Please pay attention to this video.
Could you explain what you witnessed and what you were accused of, why you were arrested?
I was arrested because of I had the mother language kindergarten in Kashgar first, and then our capital city Urumqi. And because of my mother language kindergarten, I was arrested and then detained 15 months.
Now, let's listen to the radio in Kashgar. And that is 87.8 FM, Kashgar.
So you tell me, how is that misinformation? Very important fact, that last clip of the children at school learning Uyghur language, that is from Daniel Dumbro. So how is this misinformation? This is debunking lies. That man that you saw right there saying that he went to prison because he had a Uyghur kindergarten. When you see people learning Uyghur language at school and you see people listening to Uyghur in the radio. So if the DJs are not in prison, why did he end up in prison? Why? Perhaps there was something else and he's not telling us the truth. So if he's lying about the reason why he is in prison, could he be lying about anything else? I'll tell you what this information is. You want to know what this information is? This information is when the BBC goes to a vocational training center and they see what the YouTubers can see as well, but they report that it could be, it might be, it potentially is. It is allegedly nefarious. You know what misinformation is? When Bloomberg goes and sees nothing and says that the solar panel industry can be concluded that it is tainted and the buyers need to make a decision whether to protect the energy, protect the earth, or buy tainted solar panels from Xinjiang. That's misinformation. When CNN hides the renewal date on Thurston's passport, as you can see right here. Let me show you. It's not showing up on the screen.
There it is. Yes, it's there.
Here. This is the renewal date of Thurston's passport. She was supposed to be in house arrest at that time, but this is what CNN presented, a blurred date of her passport. That's misinformation. What is misinformation? Misinformation is when you go and take a picture of a police officer and he tells you, hey, don't take a picture of me. And then you use that to make China look bad, to make China like it's an authoritative regime. If the police officer tells you don't take a picture of me, then don't take a picture of you. This is misinformation. When you get in a ditch to take a picture of the Wuhan lab and in front of it is a police officer and you make it look nefarious, that is misinformation. What we are doing, the product that we're showing you, the stuff that we're showing is not misinformation, it's debunking your lies. And I'm done with this topic, Myra, you tell me.
Well, everything you're saying, you're hitting the nail on the head on several key points here. And, you know, it leads to the, I love taking the time to be a coach and train and teach people the magic of deceitful, manipulative language, the way they persuade you, the way they brainwash you, the way that they lie to you. And this is exactly what they've done. You go back to that original clip that you played of the guy saying that he was arrested for running a Uyghur language kindergarten. No, he was arrested as he was running a Uyghur language kindergarten, but that isn't the reason he was arrested, okay? And because how do we know that he wasn't arrested for running a Uyghur language kindergarten? Because in Xinjiang, in the entire society of the province called Xinjiang, where there's 12 million free Uyghur family households, 12 million people in Uyghur free family households who are in the daily normal education system in Xinjiang, which from kindergarten through first grade through 8th grade in high school it's just normal that it's a bilingual education system, just like you showed in the following clip, okay? So when someone says to you, I was arrested and detained for 15 months for running a Uyghur kindergarten, what they're doing is they're either generalizing, deleting, or distorting. And in his case, what he's done is he's deleted information. He deleted the information as to why, if he was actually arrested, by the way, he deleted the actual reason why he was arrested. Why specifically? What was the charge for which you were arrested? You were not arrested for teaching Uyghur children Uyghur language, which is something that's done all over Xinjiang by government mandate in the public education system. You were arrested for a different reason. You started the business without a license, you broke the law in some other way, and you deleted that part. You left that part out. And that's what people do. They generalize, or they delete, or they distort to fool you and to kid you. Now, as long as it's okay with you, moving on to the BBC thing, Fernando, yes?
Sure. I mean, this has been debunked, and we hope to hear from the BBC and see what they have to say about this. But yes, let's move on to Fox News.
You hope to hear from the listen, okay, we were having this conversation yesterday about the media. Okay, the mainstream media is the media. And if they decide to target you and do a hit piece on you specifically, such as the people in the piece that they did the other day, a couple of days ago, okay, in my view, that's an opportunity, okay? Because if what they said about you is not true, well, okay, but they've just given you massive exposure all over the world. You now have millions of people who know your name and know who you are. That's a massive public relations opportunity, especially if what you have to say is that what they said about you isn't true. Your opportunity is to be professional, be clear, communicate back, communicate to the public, communicate back to BBC to say, hey, you guys featured me in a hit piece article. You said something about me that's not true, and here's what it is. Now, as soon as I read the article, because again, I'm in the media, I have a media communications company, I do media PR training all the time. Right away, I read a script and I see right away where the false information lies, how they form their story, and the story is then built on this false information. And that's exactly what they did in the case of this BBC story. It was the foreigners cooperating with China for disinformation. Fernando, I don't know if do we have a picture of the headline? If not, okay, everybody knows which article we're talking about. Okay, the article from yesterday with the BBC, and what they said was blah, 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 foreigners who are vloggers. And this is it right here. This is where they built the entire article on the following theme. Foreigners who live in China are spreading Communist Party disinformation. There's your loaded statement right there. There's the lie right there. It's like the third sentence of the article, and the entire article is built on that lie. Okay, Fernando, you're a guy who lives in China for 20 years. You're a YouTube vlogger. I'm a guy who lives in China for 20 years. I'm not really a YouTube vlogger. My YouTube channel is smaller. It's not my priority. I'm a senior fellow with the Center for China Globalization think tank, and I'm a media commentator working directly with all of China's national media. So I'm not a vlogger. That's not my title. But here I am on a YouTube. We have a YouTube show, and part of what I do is a YouTube show. That's true. But am I spreading Communist Party disinformation? First of all, is it Communist Party disinformation? Second of all, is it even disinformation in the first place? So they've loaded the state with falsity, okay? Whether or not I'm affiliated or you're affiliated or the guys in the article mentioned they're affiliated with the Communist Party is irrelevant. They've automatically put it in there that we are. Well, we're not, because you can't possibly be affiliated with the Communist Party unless you're a Communist Party member, and you can't possibly be a Communist Party member if you're not a Communist Party member. I mean, you either are or you aren't. That's like saying you're a Republican if you're not, or you're a Democrat if you're not, okay? So nobody is spreading Communist Party disinformation. This is a fake statement. That's point number one. It doesn't have any association with the Communist Party. I'm just a guy in China with a Chinese wife and a Chinese mother-in-law and a kid, and I'm an independent entrepreneur, and I have the titles that I have, and that's who I am, and I'm an independent person. I don't have anything whatsoever to do with the Communist Party, okay? So this is how the BBC associates you with something and tries to make it imply that it's a negative. This is what we call distortion. They're distorting, and it's a big distortion. And the second part of the distortion is to say, well, what is it that those bloggers were doing? Spreading Communist Party disinformation. So disinformation. Well, are they spreading disinformation? No, that's not what they're doing at all. They are, and you said it earlier, simply refuting the BBC's disinformation. Okay, the BBC and Fox News, at the behest of the United States government, the UK government, and other governments, along with other think tanks like ASPI, the Australian Strategic Whatever Institute, okay, on behalf of all of these organizations working together in a coordinated way, have been on a anti-China propaganda Cold War campaign going on several years now. It went into high gear when Donald Trump came onto the scene. It was happening before that. It was happening for decades, okay? But it went into high gear in the last 4 years, and then it really went into high gear when China magnanimously and wonderfully and remarkably handled the COVID-19 pandemic, which was an embarrassment to the Western world, who poorly handled the pandemic. Now, we can't let you know that. We can't let you think that. We have to deflect and distract and distort for you to think that China is one to blame and China didn't do a good job. Now, listen to me very carefully, and this goes for you, BBC, along with all of our listeners, okay? I say things to you at the beginning of our show, the theme of our show, myself and Fernando, and I say it confidently. I say, we are the experts, and we are angry. You're not supposed to call yourself an expert. Listen to me, okay? We live in a COVID-free country of 1.4 billion people. The BBC is spouting information from a country that is got 25,000 cases a day and rising and still doesn't have the situation under control. And Fox News and CNN is no better. So, who are you going to listen to? You're going to listen to the guy who's living in a COVID-free country of 1.4 billion people and knows exactly what's going on in that country? Or are you going to listen to the people spouting propaganda in a country where COVID is still out of control? So when I say we're the experts, I mean it in a practical, real way. I don't mean it in a braggart, egotistical way. Folks, there's lots of things in this world people like myself and Fernando are not experts about at all, and we humbly admit that. Don't ask me to be an expert on nuclear physics. Don't ask me to be an expert in accounting and administration and engineering and architecture and all kinds of things of which we are humble. Thank you, God, for the life we have. We know where we're not experts, but we know where we are very well informed. Okay, and come to you and speak to you about information that is evident and demonstrable and certain and clear and observable, not this nonsense assertoric and rhetoric propaganda narrative that you get from the BBC. the vloggers, I won't 100% defend the vloggers. You can't do that, because in order to do that, you'd have to go and watch every single minute of their videos, and they have hundreds of videos. You need to make sure that every single thing that they said was exactly accurate before you were to say that, maybe they made some mistakes in some of the things that they said. I don't know, right? So I'm not going to 100% vouch for every single word that other people say who are vloggers on YouTube, but what we are going to do is vouch.
We can't do that.
No, they're just regular people like myself and Fernando. We're independent people with lives in China. And when you see mainstream media telling a lie about the country that you live in, that you feel good about living in, you naturally want to defend and explain the truth and clarify, say, this isn't right, this isn't true. That's our motivation, not the second thing that they assert in the article, that you do it because you're doing it at the behest of the government, or you're working in cahoots with the government or the media. Nonsense. Once again, I wrote a wonderful piece as a script about the truth on Xinjiang, and because I wrote that and I researched that, and it was me independently. And if it is so the case that CGTN, as national media of China, says we really like what he wrote and we know it's accurate and true and we want to publish it, good for me, and I'm happy to cooperate with CGTN for publishing it. But the root of it was the fact that I researched it and I wrote it and I scripted it based on what I know is apodictic, not assertoric narrative, but what is demonstrably known and evident to be true. So if that's my example as cooperation with CGTN, terrific. And whether or not they might have even paid me or anybody else isn't anybody's business, to be frank with you. You see what I mean? None of this has to do with propaganda. Propaganda is the implication of manipulative, deceptive knowledge intended to deceive you. And the only ones doing that is the BBC. Fernando, back to you.
There are three shots. There are three shots that anyone reporting on Xinjiang is always doing. You have the shaky shot where, we're being followed, we're being persecuted, and the camera or the phone is shaking because, look how dangerous the situation is. That's shot number one. Shot number three. Shot number two. The police. You walk up to a police, you brag your camera, put it in front of you, say, hey, you can take a picture of me. That's picture number two. Picture number two of a police officer telling you, don't take a picture of me. Now, this is a policing state. Picture number three, take number three that they need to have, the stalker. The stalker. They have the largest telephoto lens that they can have, and they take a picture of a guy. A random guy. This guy has been following us. Now, with the fact and the knowledge that media lies all the time, how do we know that it's not the other way around? How do we know that it's not the BBC stalking some guy, taking pictures of him throughout the day in different places as he just goes through his day? And they just show you that picture. Oh, this is the guy that was stalking us. Wasn't perhaps the media stalking that guy? And you use that picture the same way that you use the picture of the Wuhan lab down in the ditch, or the police officer telling you not to take a picture of the shaky footage in front of a solar panel factory? I mean, that's disinformation. That's manipulation of information. And you all swallow it. But let's move on to Fox News.
Let's move on to Fox News. And Fernando, I apologize for interrupting you a bit earlier. I wanted to jump in and say this exact point. In any country in the world, I want you and me and a couple of other guys, we'd be a nice little team, and we show up at the gate of any corporation in the United States or Germany or any university and or any hospital. Let's go to the Mayo Clinic and let's show up there and walk in the front door with our cameras blazing and just start shooting. And what will happen? People in authority, security guards will come and say, "Excuse me, who the hell are you? What are you doing here? You're not allowed to just come on our property and start." I mean, I lived in Phoenix, Arizona. There's a Motorola plant down there. You think that I can just stroll into Motorola? There's a gate. The gate says, "Employees only, employee only parking lot. Do not enter." I mean, this is just normal. And they make it try to sound like in China, it's something nefarious. When you show up at a company in China or America or Colombia or Spain or Italy or anywhere on planet Earth, and you show up with a camera and start shooting, yes, someone is going to tell you, don't do that. You're not allowed to do that. This is perfectly normal. So yes, they're demonizing and scaremongering. Speaking of scaremongering, we got to move on to this next subject. And I think we're good on time, right? We got like 6 minutes. We're moving on to this next scaremongering subject. And we're moving on from China actually onto which is very much related to China and the whole world, and that is the kind of vaccine and virus scaremongering that's happening in the United States. Now, if I'm hearing from fringe people, extreme people, activist people about how the virus is a hoax and how the vaccines are not needed and masks are not needed, and you're hearing all this crazy, dangerous information that's a danger to your personal health and a danger to society and your families. You're hearing this information from some extreme people who got banned on YouTube. I get it. They should get banned on YouTube. They should get banned from YouTube. If you're saying this extreme stuff, that the virus is a hoax, that you shouldn't get vaccinated against the virus, that you need to get vaccinated against, that the Delta variant isn't real, all this kind of crap, okay? If you're hearing that from extremist fringe people, no problem. So Mario, what the hell are you talking about here? Because that's not who you're hearing it from. You're hearing it from Fox News. You're hearing it from Tucker Carlson. And this guy he had on his show yesterday, Brett Weinstein, okay? And Tucker is interviewing and encouraging and promoting this guy. They are endangering your life. Do you understand me? Now listen to me very carefully, okay? A virus is a virus. I'm going to talk common sense here. Okay, this was the original basis of my article that I did when I compared the virus pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic, to what happened in the United States with H1N1 10 years ago. That was the original article that I wrote. As you know, Fernando is now 2 million views and wonderful. It's very famous now and it's on LinkedIn. Go read it if you haven't yet. It's about viruses, and I just talked about common sense, which had nothing to do with blaming the United States for H1N1. You don't blame a country for a virus. So why are you blaming China for a virus? You weren't blaming America for H1N1. Well, let's talk about H1N1, okay? People die every year from flu-type viruses, flu viruses and coronaviruses. Every year people die from them. On average, in the United States only, about 20 to 80,000 per year die every season, depending on how bad it is. Oh, we're on the news today, and this year's flu virus is particularly bad. 60, 70,000 people have died, whereas in 2013, only 24,000 died. So it's a particularly nasty flu bug. Be careful, everybody. Dude, that's normal. That's good. That's perfectly understandable. That's very clear. This year's virus sets, because viruses mutate, are particularly bad, and more people this year have died of the flu virus or a coronavirus in this flu season this year. Great. Up to that point, we're really, really good. So now we go back to 2009 and H1N1, oops, that was known right away to be a particularly nasty virus, a previously unknown, unrecognized virus that was discovered. First couple of cases in California, simultaneously with a couple of cases in Mexico at the same time, and the CDC took 6 months before they finally declared an emergency due to H1N1. And in the United States alone, the estimates of this is off the CDC's page, cdc.gov, was 200 to 500,000 deaths from H1N1 alone. Now, that's a lot more than just the flu virus. And that virus went on and spread all over the world, infected 1 billion people, because which country didn't keep it under control and didn't declare an emergency for 6 months? The United States of America. Who did anybody lambaste and criticize and blame the United States for H1N1? No, there wasn't a peep. Now, you compare H1N1 to COVID, to coronavirus. It's even much worse than H1N1. In the United States alone, you've already had over 500,000, I think up to 600,000 deaths. And that's in the United States alone, 1.3 or 1.4 million deaths worldwide. And this baby is still going. So you don't think you have a reason to be concerned? You don't think you have a reason to get vaccinated? Okay, listen to me. For the last 35, 40, 50 years, I never got a flu shot every single year, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you this. I never got a flu shot. That's it. And one time, 12 years ago, while I was in Hainan Island, I got the flu. 1 year, I caught the flu. And I was down and out for 12 days, and I thought I was going to die. I mean, I was bad. I was in bed, head to toe, on double antibiotics for 12 days. I was running a fever. My chest felt like it was going to collapse. I was in bad shape. That was the 1 year in my whole adult life that I got the flu, okay? I have never gotten a flu shot each year. You understand what I'm saying, though? Typically, the flu is only going to kill, a typical annual flu virus is only going to kill 20 to 80,000 people. So, okay. But this virus is 6, 10 times more lethal. And I am going to get my next week, because I'm freaking worried about it. And then you got Tucker Carlson and this Brett Weinstein guy telling you, you don't need to worry about it. They're spreading disinformation. It's dangerous. Now, Fernando, I'm terribly sorry. I ranted on too long. I apologize. I'm turning it back to you to end the show, and my battery's going to go out in the next 30 seconds. My phone's going to die. I love you guys.
Right, guys.
Pay attention. Fernando, finish up the show yourself without me. My phone's going to go dead. Let's go. Go. It's back to you.
All right, good. Guys, on the next show, we're going to be talking about, the U.S. abrupt departure from Afghanistan. We're going to go deep into that and the consequences and the things that are taking place with the Taliban, Beijing, and Pakistan, and all the people that are around the area involved with the situation. We're also going to talk about Meng WanZhou case and why the judge won't allow new evidence. And we're also going to be talking a little bit more about this BBC reporter that left to Taiwan. That's all the time we have for today, guys. Thank you very much. Remember to always like, comment, share, and if you want to support the work that we do, make sure to hit the link in the description down below to support either my channel or Mario's channel. Until we see you again, this has been The War on China. Bye.